Why do clients pay coaches? Do they really pay? Why do they pay? That's what we're discussing on this episode of the Business Coaching Success Podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome. Glad you're here on this episode of the Business Coaching Success Podcast. We're going to dive into why do clients pay coaches to start with? And when we say clients, business owners, those that they have a business, they're attempting to grow a business and manage the business. Everybody's got different goals and different needs. But why in the world would they engage and pay a coach? It may not be exactly what you think. I'm going to share several different key insights. And the last one I think is going to be a little bit surprising. At least it is in most cases. If you are interested, but real quick, if you are interested in growing and building and expanding a business coaching practice as a believer, you just don't know exactly where to start. Maybe you have started, but you've stalled out. You don't have the necessary tools and resources. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. Some information there that you can get. You can see exactly how we help Christian men specifically grow a Christian business coaching practice at whatever level that you're looking to be able to do. And if you want to have a conversation about it, there's an area that you can do that as well. Okay, so why do coaches, or I should say clients, pay coaches? And as we jump into this, something that it's important to understand when we talk about coach, and this may surprise you what I'm about to say, is that I actually encourage all of our coaches on our team to call themselves and to consider themselves strategists, even specifically business strategists. Why? Well, that's exactly what we do. We are strategically helping business owners to grow their business one strategy at a time. That's our whole premise. And there's different ways that we do that. When you utilize the word coach, even though that is what we are, that word sometimes can be misunderstood. There's marriage coaches, there's life coaches, there's finance coaches, there's the list goes on and on and on. And so it's easy to sometimes to get kind of lumped into this one big bowl of the word coach. That's the reason why I really use and encourage the use of business strategists, even small business strategists, depending upon the type of coaches or clients rather that you want to coach. So I get the question pretty often. So people really do pay and pay well for a coach, and absolutely. The average coach charges around $2,000 per month for one-on-one coaching. There's multiple ways to do it. You can do hybrid coaching where you've got part of a group and part of one-on-one. You can do full group. There's different levels. There is of how you're going to coach, where you may only charge at $1,500 versus if you lean in a little bit more and you're providing more value, that you might charge $3,000 for that client. Just depends upon what you're going to offer, which we talk about in our community and in our system. So yes, businesses pay coaches all the time. But if you're wondering, well, why? Here's why. One, and I won't say that all of these are in like a specific order of importance of like, this is the one, this is the biggest, this is the second biggest, because it's just going to depend upon different individuals as to the why. But these are the four that really do matter and really do matter the most. One is that they want to follow a path that's kind of already predefined and laid out. And here's why. When you look at the vast majority of business owners, and there is what I call the bank balance business owner. In other words, they're managing the business based upon how much money is in the bank. It's dangerous, by the way, but that's exactly what they do. There is the culture business owner, super invested into building a strong culture that really matters. Which, yes, that's important. There is the business owners that are completely submerged into the daily tactics. Some of them, if they're home services, They're actually in the field doing some of the sales roles, especially if they're in the early stages of the business. There are the business owners who are at what we call absentee owners. In other words, they have an entire team that runs the business. They might poke their head in there a couple of times a week just to make sure things are going well. So there's different levels of businesses. But at the end of the day, all the ones I just mentioned, and there's other styles, when it comes to growth, when it comes to moving forward, when it comes to moving from where they are to where they want to go, they would rather pay someone to say, well, show me a plan. Show me a path. And that's exactly what we do in our system, which, again, if you work by yourself with somebody else, whatever, you must have not only a plan, but you want to be able to convey that plan and that path so that your clients know we are headed somewhere. One of the challenges for coaches, and this was me back in the day, early on when I just didn't know what I didn't know, is that there's not a lot of congruency from coaching session to coaching session, and certainly from 1 week to the next to 1 month to the next. And you don't, it's like, okay, I don't feel like we're actually getting anywhere. That's not a good spot to be in. And that's the reason why you want to have a path, and you want to certainly show that path to your clients. They need to see where we headed, right? It's kind of like, when you're on a vacation and kids are constantly asking, how much longer? How much longer? Why do they ask that question? Because they don't know. They don't understand, right? And we don't want clients to feel the same way. We want them to understand where we are headed, what we're covering now, and in the coming weeks and months, or even for the year, in a predefined coaching roadmap and plan. This next thing is they pay for coaches because they want accelerated growth and results. Okay? Key word there is accelerated, because one, they own a business, they've started a business, they've got it to that point, right? So proof that they can do some of this stuff on their own. Maybe they can do a lot of it on their own. Who knows? Every individual is a little bit different. And so if they're going to pay a coach, they're going to pay, or if I'm going to pay you, then I want this to go faster because you understand components of this that I don't. Plus, I'm focused in, again, if I got to be in the field, I'm in management, I got to do all these other things. So I don't have the ability to be 100% laser focused on growing the business only. Now they should have most of their efforts on that, but the reality is, in growing a legitimate, profitable, long-term business, there's all kinds of different layers to the onion that a business owner goes through. There are days, there are weeks, there are months where their attention is 100% focused in areas that is important, but it's not in business growth. So when they engage into a coach, they're looking for accelerated growth. That means that it should happen faster by having that coach at their side to help them through everything. And the next thing is, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the accelerated growth, well, actually it all goes hand in hand, is certainly support and motivation. So here's the definition of coaching consultant, if you don't know. A consultant is, on the sidelines and they're coaching, but they're also getting on the field and playing the game. So if you're looking at, those coaches that coach football, right? You've got those coaches on the sidelines. They don't physically get onto the field, and they're not in any one of those positions playing the game. And so what a consultant does is that, yes, they're coaching and guiding, but they also do some of the work. They're also being a part of the game. A coach, in its truest, a true business coach, they're just simply on the sidelines and they're coaching. In other words, they're calling in the plays. This is what you should do. This is how you should do it. This is what you want your team to do here. This is what you want your team to do there. And sure, there's going to be a couple of times where you step on the field in minor ways, but there is a difference in consultative work and pure coaching. Because in coaching, what our ultimate goal is, we're teaching them how to fish. In most cases, there may be a few things, especially, we have coaches on our team who are expert in certain areas. We have personality coaches that are certified. We have those that are CPAs. We have leadership experts and whatnot. So sure, depending upon your personality as an individual, even when you take on that coat of being a coach, there are times where you are going to lean further into what your background is or your experience is, as you should, okay? And so, but even with that, regardless of kind of how you maneuver through coaching and consulting, that client is paying for your support and motivation. Why? Think about the daily life of the business owner. They're managing teams, they're managing people, they're managing customers, they're managing customer issues, they're managing supply issues in a lot of cases as well. And the list goes on and on and on. It just gets overwhelming. It gets very challenged. So as a coach, sure, we are designed to grow profitability with that business owner. That is what we're doing. That is our ultimate purpose. But inside that, you still have to be the role of support. You still have to be some days where they just don't want to do it. Why? Because we're humans, and humans just go through seasons and days where they're just not as motivated to want to move the ball forward, even though that's their goal. And sometimes our role, and I've had this happen many a times. We've got the coaching plan. I got our session coming up. We get on the call, and these days it's a lot of times it's Zoom, and they're just not in the mood for it. And so what our goal, and again, this is what they want, and this is most importantly what they need. In certain times, we are there to support, lay the plan down for this session. We're just going to listen with empathy. We're going to encourage, and we're going to motivate them why it's important to dust themselves off, get back up, and go do it again. They're not looking for anything else in those moments but legitimate support and motivation. And certainly as a believer, this is where, as a Christian business coaches, we get to lean in and really support that individual through our faith. And everybody's a little bit different as to how they do that, and that whole ministry in the marketplace, just depending upon the client, the relationship, and whatnot. And again, you get to do that on your own because you are the individual coach. But we want to pray with them and pray for them and help them through this journey. Every season for a business is going to go through ups and downs, just like everything in life. Your marriages, relationships with children, money, right? There's just an ebbs and flows of how all this works. That's why they really do want someone who's going to support them and motivate them when they need it. And the last one, and this is the one that I find that a lot of people who are interested in getting a coaching business started, that they find it interesting that clients pay for accountability. They absolutely do. Even the most stubborn of stubborn people still want accountability. And that connects back to our earlier point on having a path and a plan. Because our goal and our role as a coach, as a strategist, is to hold their hand, hold them accountable, and to be able to help them, guide them through a complete and total game plan, process, path, call it whatever you want. They want the guidance and they want the accountability. They're looking for someone to say, did you get that done? And when they didn't get it done, tell me why you didn't get it done. Here's one of the best things, a little insight in this whole accountability piece, is that let's say that you're in that coaching session and you're reviewing your notes or your to-dos or your tasks from the last prior session, regardless if it was last week, last month, or depending upon the cadence of that relationship, right? And, well, I know I didn't get that done. I didn't get this done. It is really important, and this is what they're paying for. They really want this, and they need it. Well, let's talk about that. Tell me, why didn't you get it done? Because if you skip this as a great coach that you need to develop to becoming, these are the moments that you're truly helping someone's performance of self, and certainly attached to growing the business. This is where you're helping them to grow and develop. So you want to ask them, so tell me about that. What's going on? And let them unfold. We're not interrupting. We're not giving them, we're not bashing them, shaming them. Oh man, all those things. You want to find out why. Because sometimes there are legitimate things that come up that prevent the ability to get it done, because it's life. In my experience though, that's probably 20%. 80% of the time, they aren't disciplined with their time because they're humans. They let the tyranny of the urgent get in the way. They were unable to just be disciplined and focused. And this, as coaches, this is where we can help them. So let's take a step back and examine your goals again, right? This is where you want to be, where you want to go. Right now you're here, but you can't make that happen unless you provide discipline and dedication. And then everybody's personality is different. There are some that are great with calendar and with time. There are some of the great with discipline. As good entrepreneurs, most are not. A lot of them are chasing new shiny objects. That's just, we're all susceptible of that for sure. And this is where we hold them accountable to go. And then great coaches are checking in throughout the week. Hey, how are you feeling about our plan? Are you taking action? Were you able to accomplish that? Has something gotten in the way? Do you need to redo your schedule this week to make sure that happens? And the list goes on and on and on. So they want to follow a path that's already laid out. They're looking for accelerated growth and results. They need desperately support and motivation. And certainly they are paying for complete and total hand-holding, accountability to get it done. That's what business owners pay coaches for. Multiple ways to do that in different shapes and forms. It doesn't matter. It all has to come back down to those 4 key cornerstones. I hope that added value to you, whether you're looking to start a business or a business coaching practice, or you're already coaching and you just needed additional clarity. Prayerfully today, this topic added value to you. Until next time, take care.